about what everyone's waiting to hear. The fact that many of these athletes, at certain points in time during the tests, were fully nude, all right?
Yes.
First and foremost, if you had somebody that was coming on board into the testing program, or someone that was already involved showing up for a subsequent test, did you give any direct guidance as to what to wear and what not to wear?
Yeah, when you initially meet and pick up your permission slip, we would talk about you should show up in athletic clothing, which is a t-shirt and shorts.
Did all the students on each and every testing session show up in such clothing?
No, and a lot of that had to do with the fact of I would get the permission slip back a few days, then to schedule it. It could be 3-4 weeks before you actually did the testing after we had the meeting. Most of the student athletes showed up in whatever they were wearing at school.
All right? And when a testing session began, what was necessary for purposes of starting the testing program?
For consistency, we'd always start with either shorts or boxers on, and that was it. So we got a consistent weight on you, and then we would take your height.
And just so we're clear, all of the folks in your program were male athletes, right?
Correct.
No females?
No females.
And in terms of starting the testing process for any given male athlete, it's fair to say that if someone showed up in school clothes, whatever those clothes might have been, they would be asked to essentially strip down to their boxers.
Yes.
If somebody showed up in athletic stuff, like, say, running shorts with a liner, no boxers, and a T-shirt, would they be asked to remove anything to start the testing?
Initially, they would remain that way, and they would weigh in that way.
Okay?
And then when we advanced to the circumference measurements and we started on the neck and the chest, the T-shirt would come off.
All right. So it sounds as though once the actual measurement process began, whether it's circumference or caliper skin fold measurements, people are disrobed down to boxers or a pair of athletic shorts.
Correct.
Many folks have asked or have said that you would prompt a question to them. You'd ask the athlete, are you shy or not shy? You've been present for this, right?
Yes.
This has been, the catch tag for the life of this case, right?
Yes.
Did you pose that question?
I did.
And did you pose it to each and every athlete during each and every testing session?
I did.
And were there athletes that said shy or that elected to keep their bottom garment on, whether that be a pair of boxers or athletic shorts?
Yes.
And were there athletes that said not shy and took them off?
Yes.
As you look back, the lifespan of the program, 600 plus kids, 20 plus years, do you have a recollection of as to essentially, how the allocation was? In other words, did the majority of the kids take them off? Did the majority of the kids keep them on? How did it go?
I would say probably about 80% of them took them off.
Okay.
20% kept them on.
And were you able to perform the tests with the boxers and the shorts on?
I could.
Did the undergarments or the boxers need to come off for purposes of the test?
No.
So at what point in the testing life cycle did you begin to ask students if they were comfortable to take the bottoms off? When I say bottoms, I mean boxers or athletic shorts.
I believe from the beginning.
And did you continue in that manner throughout the life cycle?
Yes.
And why did you pose that question to the athletes, especially if you've indicated that the testing could have been performed with bottoms on, boxers or athletic shorts?
When I asked that question, I believed I was giving the athletes a choice. The choice for me was that I could work efficiently, with ease, with that area, having that whole area exposed, so I could get an accurate measurement. And trying to keep it accurate so it was reliable, every single time it would be taken in the same spot. There were some difficulties, obviously, with underwear, depending on what kind, and boxes, whatever, and if you could roll it up. And if you did roll it up, I could do the test. There were times where I couldn't get that exact measurement. It would be a guesstimation, but I could do the test that way. I do acknowledge it was wrong. There's no question about it.
At any point during the testing life cycle, when you were performing the tests in this format or in this manner, did it ever occur to you that because there were students who elected to keep the boxers off, as well as those students who elected to keep them on, that you should have just kept them on for everybody?
You know, it became an old habit. It just became a way of doing business. I created the spreadsheets. We could drop the formulas in fast. It was working. There were no complaints about it. There was no issues. So I just followed the protocol and just kept going in that order of, you know, this is a habit. It worked. And that's my best thing to say, is that it was something that I just continually did with no issues and never really put much thought behind it.
Did you consistently do the test in this manner, both at the old high school as well as the new high school?
Yes.
We went through the testing in great detail so the jury could get a real understanding or a flavor as to how it was performed, the various components, et cetera. Drawing back on your experience as being the one administering the test, which component of the test did you ask other athletes shy or not shy?
Shy and not shy would come up when we were doing the thigh circumference, which was way up on the thigh, and also on the adductor pinch.
Okay. And in your recollection, were there any other tests that you did that called for this routine or habit-like shy or not shy question?
No.
Were there students who changed their response over time? In other words, some students elected to keep the bottoms on for the test and then over time elected to remove them?
Yes.
I think one of the defense witnesses talked about that last week. Were there others?
Yes. I didn't write down the information as to whether you were shy or not shy. I didn't have a memory of it, so I would just ask each time.
Was asking that question, did asking that question become sort of a routine aspect of the testing process?
Absolutely.
At any point during the years of testing and the many students that you tested, aside from, say, a student indicating that they were shy and they wanted to keep the boxers on, did any individual student express any complaint to you about the fact that you were even presenting them with this option?
Never.
Did you ever receive a phone call or a communication from a parent about alleging a complaint about this aspect of the test?
Never.
And prior to your meeting with the administration, Dr. WJAR, and others in the fall of 2018, did anybody, student, parent, or otherwise, relay any complaint to you about this particular aspect of the testing?
No one.
When you look back on it today, obviously, it's 2025, you've experienced the brunt of this entire process, and times have changed. Do you have thoughts and feelings about your prior practices?
I do. You know, I'm truly sorry that it occurred the way it occurred. It was never my intent to ever hurt, cause any kind of pain, or embarrass, or make uncomfortable even any of the student athletes. It was just for competitive, you know, for a competitive advantage. But when I look back on it now, I see how it can be, you know, how it is construed. I take full responsibility for it. It was a foolish thing, based on, you know, not just today's standard, but now even I look back on it when it was occurring.
Did you treat the students who chose to keep the boxers on any differently than the students who elected to take them off?
No, everyone was treated the same.
Did you show any favoritism to any of the athletes in the testing program in connection with the testing process itself?
No favoritism.
At any point in time during any of the tests, did any of the students, including those who took off or kept on the boxers, did any of the students ever verbally express to you any level of discomfort, displeasure, or disagreement with the process itself?
I never received any complaints or anything like that.
Coach Thomas, at any point in time during your administration of the overall testing process, did you ever make physical contact with the penis of any athlete?
No,
Did you ever move a student's genitals out of the way utilizing your own hand?
never.
Are you sure?
Yes,
During the course of the testing process, over the years, did you ever make any sexual remarks or comments to any of the students?
never.
Did you ever comment on anyone's genitalia?
No,
Did you ever make any passes at any of these students?
never.
Coach Thomas, did you have any sexual interest in these young men?
No.
What is your sexual orientation?
Heterosexual.
Did you have any sexual desires for purposes of being in the presence of these athletes when they had their underwears off?
No, I did not.
Were you sexually gratified or aroused in any way by the sight of these adolescent genitalia?
No,
When you developed the body testing program and administered it for as long as you did you do so with any intention for purposes of your own sexual arousals or desires?
never.
Did you ever experience any sexual arousal, gratification, or satisfaction at any point in time during the testing?
Never.
Notwithstanding, do you accept full responsibility for the impropriety of asking athletes to strip down naked in your presence behind closed doors for purposes of this testing?
I do.
No further questions, Your Honor.